to go to this event. It was really pushing my emotions and the sense of being a part of something bigger, because European Championships is all about Iaido. If you stop training during lockdown, you will definitely lose some of your progress. Even if you're doing just something, doesn't matter what, you will gain more experience in this particular field. And thus you are training, I think you will also, you might hold your level of skill much better than if you're doing nothing, just relaxing.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Tokskai Inside Look podcast. Today we're speaking with Johannes Dobretsberger from Linz, Austria. Johannes is a practitioner of Iaido and Kendo and has been a member of the Austrian National Iaido Team for the past few years. Up until now, the podcast has been focused on senior practitioners of the martial arts, people that are leading the dojos and organizations for over 2 decades. But what makes martial arts community such an amazing place to be is that leaders can come from anywhere, and it is the responsibility of seniors to nurture these tendencies in the upcoming youth. I was recommended to speak to Johannes as the podcast guest for this reason, and cannot be more impressed by his understanding and dedication to the practice and responsibilities of doing the traditional martial arts. In challenging times like we have today, it is so important for young leaders like Johannes to step up and make it clear that they're ready to face these days head on. Please enjoy this motivating conversation with Johannes Dobretsberger.
My name is Johannes Dobretsberger, and I started Iaido in 2011. During my university career, I recognized that all the sitting and studying isn't very well for my body, and I need something to change that. So I was always interested in Iaido, Kendo, Judo, Aikido, this kind of stuff. And at the University Sports Institute offered a course in Iaido and Kendo. And I said, well, give it a try. The Kendo course was already full, so I enlisted in the Iaido course. And I liked it. I liked the teacher very much. He was a bit rough, but I think we could connect to each other. And he was very honest, brutally honest. But I recognized that at the beginning, it was even hard for me to copy the movements. And I thought, well, my body condition must be worse than I have thought. And in the beginning, it was more like a meditative body movement work, but the teacher very soon implemented the fighting aspects, and we started not with Zettenkare kata. We started with French Tenjin Batudo kata and Kihon, and they were very easy to understand because we trained with Bokken, always with a partner, and so you had always the target in front of you, you know what you will do, and it was really fun because you don't have to imagine the opponent, and it was a good community there.
This was a course at university, so was it only for students?
It was not only for students. You could also attend from if you already passed the university, or if there were free places, you could also enlist after without any connection to the university. Did not grade there, mainly because the teacher was kind of upset with gradings, and he did gradings in his choreo under his teacher, but not for Zettenkare. So it was a bit special situation there. And I was asked from some senior woman which trained there if I would like to attend a seminar from a Japan sensei. And I thought, give it a try. I take everything I get from Iaido. So I got there. And with this little push in this direction, I started to realize that there's so much more and that it is good to do gradings. So I enlisted with the local club in the association and got into grading. And this little push helped me a lot to get on the right track.
So that's when you started realizing that there is a larger association that's under the Kendo Federation.
Yeah, the seminars or the training on this university course was very unconnected to all the clubs and association and so on. That's most of the reason I think is a legal one, because if you give training through the university, you are not allowed to do it as a club, because you would advertise and you would gain profit from them. So it's completely separated, but I think that's a kind of a problem, because if you separate the training from the rest of the community, it's losing something.
Who are the other people in the community you started to get to know, and what does the Austrian Kendo Federation or Iaido group look like?
We are organized in the association, of course, and some local clubs. And each club is organizing its training on its own. And of course, there are connections between the clubs, mainly because of the people they get connected. So I started in Graz at my university. I know the people from there. And I moved back to Linz for personal reasons after studying. So I got into the club in Linz, but I still have good connections to the people from Graz. And through gradings or seminars or even the European Championship, I connected very well with, for example, Andy and people from Vienna and Klagenfurt. So the connection is based a lot on the connections of the people itself, not really the clubs, because the clubs meet only once when the association has its general meeting. And yeah, there of course is talked a lot about technical stuff and yeah, finances and these kind of things, and not a lot of Iaido. And the second point is that Iaido is compared relatively small to Kendo. A lot of people practicing Kendo in Austria, but very few of them practicing Iaido as well. And there are some who are only practicing Iaido. So the main focus is on Kendo seminars, local championships, and these kind of things.
Are those groups then considered separate? Kendo people do events, Iaido people do Iaido events, or are there ever mixed?
They are mostly separated. In Linz, we had a seminar where we joined both disciplines, where we did a lot of Iaido, and at the end of the day, we did Kendo Keiko. So there came a lot of people, especially from Linz, training only Kendo and joining the Kendo part and don't even look at the Iaido. So that's, yeah, disappointing in one way. But I acknowledge that most of the people invest only time in one discipline. I started both. The last year I was in Graz. Actually, I started Kendo, and really starting was in Linz, where I regularly attended the training. And it was very funny because I tried some stuff from Iaido. Yeah, I copied the cutting, so I made good progress, even though it was kind of hard to separate both of them, both disciplines, because in Kendo the cutting movement is a bit different as I was used from Iaido. The main fun started with the free fighting. When we started with the free fighting, most Kendo people had problems with me because I did the movements in another way. I moved differently and spontaneously tried a Iaido kata and were not aware of these kind of movements or these tactics. And they were surprised. And I had a lot of fun because I just started Kendo and I could confuse them. So we have a few people, a few very good people who are practicing both, but most of them are focusing on one discipline.
I think it really requires those that do both to attract the other side. You can show the Kendo people what someone that does EI can do, and hopefully that'll get them interested. And then vice versa. You can show the Iaido people, okay, if you do Kendo and you have that real life sparring, what could your EI could look like?
The direct sparring was also interesting for me because I had the feeling from Iaido, yeah, I can defeat someone. Then I was taught that, yeah, I might know the movements and it would probably work if my opponent was lazy, unattended, or slow. Yeah. But the spontaneous reaction, or especially the connection to the opponent and the reaction on his attacks, was totally new for me. And that's what made Kendo so much fun in the end, because it's always the surprise of the opponent if you can't connect and you can't control him.
Can you tell me about starting on the national team in Iaido and going to the championships? How did you get started in that?
That was pretty funny. I was in Tyrol for my first grading in Iaido, and I passed it. Afterwards, we got to the changing room and we got a shower. And then I was asked, yeah, would you be interested in more Taikai? So, yeah, sure. What do you think about the European Championship? Well, let's give it a try. Yeah. And because there was so little interest from people, I just have to say, yes, I want. And I was in the national team. So I was surprised by myself that it would be that easy. But in the end, it turned out that Harald Goldner saw in the potential of my performance. And if I would train constantly in this direction and also focus on Taikai and get involved in these whole events and also get the right condition to be prepared, how to prepare for Taikai, especially the big events, that potential could be very fruitful.
Who was it that asked you whether or not you wanted to join or start a national team?
Harald Goldner. It's the president of the Tyrolean Iaido Club and Kendo Club.
So he asked you in the shower, how did it become real? What were the next steps? What kind of preparation did you have before the first competition?
We started the next year, I think, the Austrian Championship. And through this championship, you were qualified. We started a qualification in one Austrian tournament. And because we were so little people, we made it an open tournament. So a lot of people from the Czech Republic, Germany joined. So it was a really nice little Taikai, and we made an Austrian ranking. So we could choose the best for the European Championship.
What was that first experience like?
My first experience, my first European Championship, this was in Hungary. It was so rich of emotions, and I did not really know how to prepare for these situations. And I know I got on the Ski and started doing a kata, and I was nervous like hell, and it was over as quick as I couldn't even thought about it. And I had my 2 pool fights, and yeah, I think I got 1 flag, and I was happy about it, and it was my biggest winning. So, yeah, it's hard how to prepare for these situations, and I think that was the big benefit to joining these events very soon.
And was that the first time Austria had sent a team?
No, that was already the second time, because the first time Harald Goldner and a second one, I don't know who it was, attended championships in Berlin in Germany. And that was the really first déjà vu of Austria at the European Championships.
So they had already done that first one, and then Harold was looking to see if more people wanted to go.
He really pushed the national team, and he organized the Austrian Championships and got everything running. And now there are a lot of people interested in going to the European Championship, and it established continuous interest and size of team. So we are very lucky that we have enough young people who are interested in joining this kind of Iaido training and direction.
What have you seen ways of attracting the younger people, and what do they find interesting in the practice of EI?
In Linz, we tried a lot of things. We tried getting attention, for example, at the Comic-Con in Linz, because there are usually people liking manga are in this kind of mindset where it would be possible to get attention from them. In Graz, most of the people, I think, joined through the university and through this course, and they now focus on if people are trying Iaido, they already say, hey, there's a club. If you want, you can join, and showing them that there's a larger community and showing them the benefits of joining the club. In Linz, we have some people who too old for Kendo or had injuries or something different, who said, okay, I can't do Kendo anymore, but yeah, let's try Iaido. And so they joined. We also made it very well. There was the Kendo beginners training, and immediately afterwards was the Iaido training. So they started Kendo, and a lot of people are starting Kendo. And they've seen, oh, what's going on here? Yeah, it's Iaido. Yeah, do you want to try? Yeah. And we gave them the possibility to watch, to get interested by the appealing look of Iaido. And so some people said, yeah, I will try. And I recognize two kind of people. The one who just want to hit someone. Yeah, they are doing Kendo. And they are usually the one who have no problems with screaming, the ki, getting loud, getting aggressive, getting a lot of physical movement. Then there are the people who are not really shy, but a bit more introverted. They usually do the ki a bit, or at least less loud. They have a bit of problems with those aggressive physical training of Kendo, and they liked to switch to Iaido. And the people who wanted to get exhausted and want just physical training, they stick by Kendo.
So you're saying that you're not that senior, but you are approaching almost 10 years of practice in a place that's like Austria, where it's still relatively new compared to some other countries. What have you seen is your responsibility in helping the Iaido community?
My first teacher already said, why do you want that I teach you another kata? You just have to train more. And in the end, you will feel the responsibility to pass it on. Yeah? And it was that kind of feeling that brought me to, I don't want to call it teaching, yeah, because I think I'm not in a position that I can really teach Iaido. I can help other people, but in the end, I wouldn't call it training or teaching, because I'm by my own not that far or not that high level. But it's especially this responsibility. You feel like you have to pass it on. You have to help others. And I don't know, maybe he planted a seed in me, or if it's just the real commitment to the art. I think if you deeply commit yourself to Iaido, then it's not a sport. It's not really an art. It's more like an expression of life and your way of life and living. If you are that committed, you will feel the responsibility to pass your knowledge on, to help others to get on your level. In the best case, you want to help them to supersede your own level.
When you think about what you want to achieve in terms of this responsibility, who do you look up to, or who do you find inspiration with?
In Austria, we don't have one sensei, or at least in Linz, we don't have a connection to a sensei who can visit us several times a year or so. So we are a bit independent in the one or other way. So I get inspiration from two teachers, one of the Czech Republic and one from Germany. They are kind of contrary, but they are getting a lot of input. And the German one is especially, he knows all the Chakugante and every definition of the movement, and is very strict and says, yeah, that should be 45 degrees. And he corrects you if you are a little off. And I like that because as an engineer, I know, if you are not 45 degrees, it's not 45 degrees. Yeah, that's correct. And the other teacher is more open to the tradition, to the emotional side, to the mindset, to the how should you do this kata. And this attracts me and really work on my expression of during the kata. And the other emotional component is very helpful. And you can do all the movements correct and it will not look that great. And you can say, let's sacrifice a bit of the precision of each angle and how the opponents are. And let's pull some emotions in there. Then it looks like fire. And I think that's very hard to combine these both ways of doing Iaido. I worked a lot on my precision of the cuts, of the stops, where the opponents are really hitting the targets. And at the same time, I'm trying to get in the right emotional state to express feelings in the kata. And I think the closer I can get these two different ways of doing the kata together, the more I will build up my own skill.
Awesome. Now that you've been around for almost 10 years and thinking about where Iaido was in Austria and when you first introduced to the community and how far it's come in the last decade, where do you see it going next? If you had to compare it to another country in Europe.
To be realistic, I would compare Austria to Ireland, I think, something like that. So they are also seen as underdogs in the European Championship. And as I recognize them, all just little teams at the European Championship. And I think they also struggle with that it's not a mainstream sport. And if you don't have a large pool of people where you can build up your teams, where you can, it's not bad when some people cycle through, they drop out for a personal reason, get in different countries, different towns or something. It's much easier if you have a large population. And Austria will be facing hard times, I think, the next years, because most of the people are attracted to Kendo, and Iaido is still, the few people who are training Iaido. It has become very, very well compared to when I started or even before. Iaido has been in Austria a long time ago, but they missed to get the attention of the young people, to get new people into the art. And that's kind of hard, even nowadays with COVID restrictions and so on, to attract new people. And it's not that you have only to attract new people, they have to stay and they have to commit themselves to the art. We made a beginner training in Linz and there started, I think, 15 or 13 people. And I was amazed. And in the end, I think 3 visiting the regular training. So you have a very high dropout rate because they have different expectations. They find out it's not that pleasing because Iaido is hard to train if you train it correctly. Yeah, so I think we will in Austria still face we will stay in this build-up phase. I don't see an end of it yet, but we established a good foundation. Every club has own instructors and there we have really stable training conditions. And so we did the first step well, but there are a lot of steps to follow until we are like Italy or France. That will be more decades to go.
I could see how much you care about this and how much you care about Iaido being spread in Austria. And having been through this kind of growing phase in Canada, having seen it, I know that the most important thing is to build that foundation, as you said. And the foundation is as much the training conditions, but it's more important the people. And young people like you who care so much about it, that will do what's necessary and will be around, is what's going to make it happen. And I have no doubt that Austria is going to be great because of what I'm hearing from you, how much you care about it.
Thank you. But we have still a way to go. For gradings, we have to pull all high graded together to get trainings up to the first queue. So it's a lot of effort today to get gradings done. And I think if we established enough high graded people through the clubs, that we can regularly and easily get gradings done twice a year, I think that will be the next step. After that, we will have to gain a next target.
What is it that when you go to these larger events, you see these other countries? What is the feeling of looking around and comparing yourself?
It's interesting to see how big the community of other countries can get. For example, I was shocked when I heard that France, they got all categories, 2 people, and they are so a large federation. They get sponsored. And I think, yeah, well, I'm paying the trip by my own. I think the competition fee will be paid by the federation, and yeah. And we are a bunch of people randomly put together to go to this event. But it was really pushing my emotions and the sense of being a part of something bigger, because European Championships is all about Iaido in all countries. And I sensed, wow, there are a lot of people doing this. So I got more the feeling, yeah, we might be someone, or some country, but we are here, and here's the place where we can learn. And can clearly remember I watched all the Taikai at my first European Championship until I had the feeling my brain had an overflow of Iaido input, and I had to process all what I have seen, and I orientated myself. Why is this guy winning? Why is she better than her opponent? And this was a great experience for not really evaluating myself, because I know I don't have a chance, because I'm not trained as well as the others. But the experience I gain is so much more than any win. And it is said regularly at the European Championships, only those have lost who are not here, because everyone gained experience. And I took this to my heart. So it was gaining experience, learning from them, getting a sense of what is the right way of doing Iaido. And yeah, we might be underdogs, but I think we have learned our lesson, and we have learned to bite. And the last year we could get some wins, and that was more amazing than I have.
That's awesome. Congratulations on that. Now, I guess you don't have access to your dojo right now because the schools are not open yet?
Yeah, we had training the last 5 weeks, but now during the summer the schools tend to be closed, and yeah, we have to figure out a way to get training. I trained at home as much as it is possible, yeah. But it was a benefit for me because I trained a lot of footwork, for example. I tried to build up the muscles, or at least hold the strength, and I recognized some improvements in my footwork. So if you stop training during lockdown, or when the schools are closed, you will definitely lose some of your progress. And even if you're doing just something, doesn't matter what, you will gain more experience in this particular field. And thus your training, I think you will also, you might hold your level of skill much better than if you're doing nothing, just relax or so. It's like stretching. Yeah, you know you should do it, but when you have a training hall and you can swing your sword and make the most of the space, you will probably do not stretching. Yeah, even if you know you should do it, doing some physical workout for the muscles, yeah, you probably will not do it. But at home, when you don't have the space or the right conditions for training kata, you have to do something else.
Have you been doing online stuff or found anyone else that do online stuff?
In my club, the club president made a video for training Kendo at home. And I made a video for training Iaido at home where I just posted my training and explained what I'm doing and what kind of tricks I'm using to check myself.
Oh, cool. Can I see that?
Yeah, of course, it's on YouTube.
If you could send me the link, I would love to
I will
check it out.
And a friend of her from Spain did online sessions. And personally, I prefer to do my training because it's in my pace, it's independent when I'm ready in the evening, when my son is sleeping, when I really can focus on training. And then I did my workout or training, and yeah, it lasts half an hour, maximum 1 hour, but I did it every second day, or almost every second day, to be honest. That you make progress through these little efforts. And also, I remember I prepared for one European championship where I did every 12 kata every day, really every day. And that's especially interesting because I knew I will do them only once. Yeah, I did it with full attention, and it was a remarkable progress, even if it wasn't taking me 20 minutes, I guess. But it's every day, and this continuously training and repeating gives you much more progress than visiting training once a week and training for the same amount of time.
That is great advice for everyone training. Is there anything else that, if you know that maybe some of your students or dojo mates that you've helped in the past, is there anything else that you think you would like to share with them that you don't normally get a chance to?
It's hard to put all of these in one comment. I think it's the hardest to commit yourself to training, and that's the point that should be really trained to do everything with full commitment. To those who are instructors, I would like to say that every student should try to supersede his trainer or master or teacher, and the teacher should always help them to gain this level as fast as possible. And ideally, the instructor will stay ahead of the student. For those who are progressing an advanced level, it doesn't matter in which circumstances you are, or what you know, or what you usually can do. It only matters what you are able to show in this moment. Iaido is a martial art of the present moment, and nothing else matters. I found out, if I don't live like I want to do Iaido, where should it come from?
That's great to end this. Well, thank you so much for this. You've been an amazing guest. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
Good
Bye.
night. Bye. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that episode because we have a lot more exciting interviews and resources to help you explore the world of martial arts. To get the latest on what we're up to at Tokuskai Canada, subscribe to our newsletter at subscribe.tokuskai.ca and find us on Facebook and Instagram at tokuskai.canada. Until next time, thanks for listening.